After having watched and completed Hunter x Hunter for the first time this year, it's hard to overstate just how amazing the series is and how it manages to break convention and subvert the already established ideas that are prominent within the shonen genre. Togashi crafted such a beautifully intricate world where it not only piques curiosity, but manages to challenge the viewer's expectations seemingly at every turn. From its morally ambiguous characters to the tragic and even poetic storytelling of the Chimera Ant arc, Hunter x Hunter presents us with so many different and intriguing ideas that it's impossible to cover many of them in a single video. If I were to ask people what their most memorable or favorite parts of the series were, I'd get answers ranging from individual characters like Gon, Killua, and Hisoka, to arcs such as Phantom Troop, Greed Island, and of course the dark but tragic Chimera Ant. However, I've rarely seen people, if any, refer to the election arc as their favorite or even that great. It's not too surprising of why that is, since the arc that came before heavily overshadowed it, but I feel that people easily dismiss the last arc and deem it to be bad just because it doesn't adhere to the expectations of the previous ones. While the politics between Jing and the other Zodiacs have an interesting power play dynamic to them, today I just want to talk about and bring attention to a small part of the election arc that I felt was genuinely emotional, even if a bit understated. That being the relationship between Killua has with Alaka and what made it so captivating. The Zoldyck family, as shown to us in the world of Hunter x Hunter, has one of the most unique and weird family relationships I've seen in any anime. Being a house full of deadly assassins, each member has a distinctive personality that ranges from possessive to borderline insane, although they each have their own set of codes and values they follow. When it comes to the future of their family and children, the Zoldicks almost have a traditionalist mindset. Killua's father, mother, and grandfather all have this expectation that he will become a full-fledged assassin who will later grow to be the successor of the Zoldyck family. It's from this expectation that Killua himself has said that from a young age he was trained and subjected to all kinds of torture and built up a tolerance for pain. Killua is favored as the most important child because to the adults he's seen as the young prodigy who will later take over the family business, while his other siblings are envious of his status and so try to demean and degrade him at every chance. However, it's because of Killua's pivotal role within the family that his acceptance and reconciliation with Alaka at the end of the series proves to have a lasting effect on the family as a whole. Throughout the series, the most prominent members of the Zoldyck family have been properly established and introduced in their own quirky ways. Of course, to say that the family functions in any way that can be perceived as normal would be a bit of a stretch. Nonetheless, the Zoldicks have fundamental rules set within the family that all members must abide by. From the introduction of Alaka, the series seems to initially portray her as some inherently evil being needed to be imprisoned behind an endless number of vaults. Silva even states that Alaka can't be reasoned with or controlled, setting up the expectation that she must behave in a very dangerous and destructive manner. We know this to be false, but nevertheless Silva frames it as if she's some sort of monster.
あれは人ではない。家族だと思ってはいけない。
We find that the reason Killua wants to meet with Alaka is because she has a mysterious power that allows her to turn into Nanika and grant any wish to a person if 3 of her demands are met, but there are consequences when attempting to use the power. I won't delve too deeply into what the exact rules are since I don't think it's relevant in the grand narrative, but essentially the bigger the wish someone asks for, the bigger the consequence is for the next person if they fail to meet 3 of Alaka's requests. This can range from anything such as a simple hug to asking a person to die. It's because of this dangerous ability that Alaka has been locked up for most of her life and kept away from the outside world. Within the Zoldyck family, everyone refers to Alaka either as their son or little brother, while Killua is the only person who takes into consideration her feelings and acknowledges her as his younger sister. It's not explicitly stated what gender Alaka was born with, nor does it even matter, but the family's insensitive approach to the topic is disheartening and even alienating to a person who's connected by blood. Killua loves Alaka and treats her with the genuine care of a big brother. He's one of the few people, if not the only person, who doesn't see her as an object to be controlled, but as a family member who's done nothing wrong with her life and needs to be protected. The rest of the Zoldyck family, on the other hand, treats Alaka not as one of their own children, but as an object to be used and exploited for personal gain. She's dehumanized by her own family, and that's a depressing and even aggravating reality that neither Killua or I can tolerate. As a brother, Killua never thinks to take advantage or abuse Alaka's powers for personal gain, but instead genuinely cares for her well-being and happiness. He takes action not for himself, but for Alaka's freedom and Gon's survival. It's this strong sense of honesty and loving duty that Killua has for Alka that I feel goes unnoticed and unappreciated.
あるか。もしも世界中でアルカのこと大好きなのがお兄ちゃんだけだったら悲しいか？
What's really interesting with the portrayal of Alka within this arc is how Hunter x Hunter frames its ideas in such a way that it breaks convention. As shown throughout this arc, when given the chance for a wish to be granted, every person except for Killua has wished for something that they desire, from materialistic possession to pure power, which results with a more cruel demand. Nanika is seen by everyone as a curse whose power is inherently evil. However, as stated by Killua in the climactic episode, Nanika has never made a cruel request after healing someone. Nanika is kinder than anyone. The one who's cursed is the one who wishes. It's knowing these lines can we finally begin to understand what Killua and Alaka's relationship is all about. The most evil or cruel things in the world don't inherently come from the unknown, but from how humans choose to either understand or cast away each other. It's this core message that makes Killua and Alaka's relationship so well written. During the emotional climax of the arc, Killua strongly believes that after healing Gon, the best case scenario would be to never summon Nanika. He doesn't want to use Alaka by issuing commands, and so tells Nanika to never come out ever again, despite all her pleas of how much she loves him. Killua thinks that sacrificing Nanika will bring freedom towards Alaka. However, he's mistaken with that mentality. This upsets Alka as she turns towards her brother angrily and convinces him that if he wants to protect her, he also needs to protect Nanika. The two are a part of each other, and to choose one would mean to abandon the other. Killua finally realizes his mistake and asks for forgiveness. Abandoning Nanika wasn't the right choice because it ultimately means giving in to how the rest of the family views her as a tool, and it's for that very reason why Killua was so afraid. He didn't take into account her feelings, but let outside views dictate the way he perceived her. Nanika is her own person, just like anyone else. Killua was scared of the idea that he couldn't protect her, that someone might use his sister's power for evil, and so made a choice that wasn't true to his heart. And for that, he not only lied to himself, but to a person dear to him, a person he was supposed to protect. He selfishly hurt his sister, and that's not something a brother should ever do. But it's knowing his mistakes can he finally begin to make amends and start over. What comes after is a truly genuine and tender, heartfelt moment.
はい。何かこんなダメなお兄ちゃんでも許してくれるか？
キルア